Okay, so it's early morning. You see the fire is going. It's still dark outside. We got done milking and all. Just edited another video. I stand here. I don't even have a chair. I just stand here. I started editing here versus our little office room, so it makes it easier. So fire's ginning over here. Here's what's crazy. Misty's got everything ready for the baby. We're gonna put this in the car because at any point in time, we gotta be baby ready. So I won't take this to the car, but it's getting more real because here I am just to put the car seat in the car. So it's a little crazy. We're excited but nervous.
Sidekick is on the counter with me. Okay, so I wanted to flip my camera on and share something with y'all. For most of you bakers, you probably already know this, but one of the #1 questions that I get about bread failure for those who have attempted to make bread or make different things, and they'll say, I can't get my bread to rise. So I want to share with you my trick. Well, I say my trick. It's very common, but this is what I always do. It's something that I always practice. It only takes about 5 minutes longer. But here's my cup right here. And that is a cup of water, honey that I don't measure, and my yeast. So activating your yeast is like super important in the bread making world. And I suppose that there are people that maybe successfully make different breads and pastries and stuff like that that maybe don't activate their yeast, but I do. I always have. I found that to be the key in bread making for me in the environment, the climate, the high humidity here. So like I said, I suppose that there are people that maybe don't, but I do. So for you bread makers that make bread, awesome. We love to try to make homemade and fresh as much as possible. But for those of you who may have failed at bread making because your bread did not rise for whatever reason, try activating your yeast. Warm cup of water. You want either some type of sugar or honey. You want to give it some type of sugar for the yeast to feed off of, and then you're going to put your amount of yeast that your recipe calls for in the cup and wait till it gets foamy, and that lets you know your yeast is activated. And for those of you who are wondering, trying to find my salt for this. For those of you that are wondering, I do have sourdough starter too. We do a lot with our sourdough, but there are times that I use the quick yeast. Today, we just decided to kind of throw a homemade pizza tonight for supper. And of course, my sourdough was not set out, neither has it been fed. So it was one of those things where I do like to do both. I do have sourdough starter that I use the majority of the time, but there are times that we want homemade fresh goodies where I just use regular dry active yeast too. And some of you may be asking, what is the difference in sourdough and regular yeast? Well, I will tell you that I'm definitely no expert, but from my understanding and the research and everything that I have done, the sourdough yeast is naturally caught from our environment, so our digestive systems have an easier time to break it down. It's not as hard on the body to where the yeast that you buy, like the store-bought yeast, it's a little bit harder for our bodies to process and break that down. So that's why sourdough yeast is a little bit it's a little bit different. That's the main, I would say that's the main difference. Is the store-bought yeast is a little bit harder on your body to break down. Sourdough starter is natural. It's from the environment, so our bodies have a little bit easier time to break it down. And that's why a lot of people choose sourdough starter versus the dry active yeast. We are back at the doctor's office today. This will be for our 37-week check. Today's going to be a little bit of a special day because I had to come in for Group B strep. So I've been praying that everything is going to be negative there so that I don't have to take any unnecessary antibiotics. So that's what we're doing today, and I won't find out the results until next week. Now I have been doing some preventative things that I'm praying will make sure that there is no GBS and that Livie and I will not have to be infused with antibiotics constantly, because as you guys know, we've shared before, we try to do everything as naturally as possible. Not that we're opposed to medical interventions when they're needed, but we're hoping we don't even have to cross that route. So I'm going to go in today and see the doctor, and she will recheck. Now, I told y'all last week that I was already 2 centimeters. So 37 weeks today, she'll recheck, and we're going to do my skin test. And hopefully all those preventative measures that I've been doing this past week will help with that. And I'll share that a little bit more with y'all about what I've been doing. I reached out some moms who have had home births who some do the swab for GBS, some do not. But I have reached out to those moms to find out kind of what they do and what their preventative is. And so I've did those. So we'll see if they work for me, and we'll give y'all an update as soon as possible. Okay, I thought I had given you guys an update after the doctor's office, but somehow my video got deleted. So I wanted to give y'all a real quick update. Everything still looks great. Baby's heart rate was great. No change in dilation. I'm still at 2, which is what I was last week, but that's okay. I'm just 37 weeks. 37 weeks, that sounds crazy. We will have a baby here before we know it, y'all. So that's good. Fingers crossed and praying that that test comes back negative, because we really don't want any antibiotics if at all possible. I done as much as I could to prevent GBS from showing up on the swab. So like I said, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about that once we get those results back. I'll run through with you everything that I did, if it did indeed help, because it did show up in my urine at 4 weeks. So she had assumed I was colonized with it. Actually said, we're not even going to test you, we're just going to treat it. And that's when I was like, hold the brakes, I do want to be tested. Let's do the skin swab, because I would rather not have any unnecessary antibiotics if at all possible. So that's just an update there. No change on cervical dilation. So I will go back in about a week and a half for another recheck. That's going to be getting really close to the due date, so I'm curious to see how that's going to go. We have pajamas and clothes, camera, and cleaning supplies in the bag. So worst come to worst, we can throw the bag in the car and take off. Livie's stuff is already in the car. So y'all, we're on the countdown. It's gonna go fast from here. You have to use your muscles. So y'all finished off one bottle, and what are you doing?
And I'm about to finish off another one.
Stilling the rest of my kombucha?
Basically.
It's got some pretty good carbonation to it. That's pretty good.
Could be better.
Yeah, it's not as good as the pineapple
just go
one, but
here.
you don't want to drink the SCOBY?
I'm going to get a Okay, so we've got the chickens in for the night. Look at all the room they had. we're just gonna move it. So we're gonna slide it this way one more time tomorrow, let them out, then work our way back on this grass all through here. And let them finish this area up, and then we'll move them even all around the yard, doing the exact same thing, cleaning up this area and fertilizing the ground. Last chore of the day. So we've got, we got to feed the lambs. We didn't get to move the lambs, and the hay, we didn't get to get hay before it got dark. So we're gonna give them some organic alfalfa. We put some probiotics on it, some probios basically, and also some apple cider vinegar. So we've got this, we're gonna shoot over there right quick. It's cold, and I just wanna make sure they get a good boost before we go into the evening. No matter what time I get here, if I've got alfalfa, they're happy. So we're gonna cut this off before I get shocked. Step over, making sure it's off. I can't see nothing. All right, guys, watch out. Watch out. Come on, come on, come on, come on. We'll give them a nice little treat for the night. They still got grass, but it's just gonna be cold, and usually I move them by now. And I wanna go ahead and give them some fresh alfalfa. Here's their feed bowls. Let me get these feed bowls and get these fed. All right, so we fed them, and they're getting not only some great quality feed for alfalfa, we also got the apple cider vinegar in there. We've got some probios in there. So not only are they getting a great treat, they're getting treated the way that we like to treat them. So, hey buddy, this girl right here and Minnie over here are both big time pregnant. I mean, you can see they are just getting wider and wider, hopefully having babies really by either the end of the year or by the 1st of January. Hey,